Welcome to HortTube. My name is Jim Putnam. This is the Sunday garden question and answer video that I have been doing for a while now on every Sunday, except for the first Sunday of every month, which is Subscriber Sunday, where subscribers send in photos of things in their yard that they're proud of. This is the email address to send photos for that video when that video comes out at the beginning of October. But like I say, the other Sundays I do question and answer videos. You can ask questions down at the bottom of this video, and I will go through them each week and try to pick questions and answer them that I think will help the group the most. Okay, I do have a tour coming up at the end of September and early October. I'm in Raleigh and near Charlotte and Lexington, South Carolina, and near Atlanta, which I've gone over in most of these videos, but I'll link the event pages for the Facebook event pages down at the bottom of this video if you're interested in coming out and meeting. I plan on spending some time at each of those places, and I will also have giveaways. I'll have several things to give away, including a few plants. That leads to another thing, which is I'll have a unboxing video from plantsbymail.com sometime later this coming week. Look for that video, and you can register to win plants that I'm unboxing, those of you watching, and the plants that I'm actually unboxing, I'm going to be taking on the road and giving those away at the actual physical locations in drawings there. So lots of opportunities to win actual plants on the channel coming up over the next month. And then I'll be down on the Gulf Coast for some period of time in early October as well, and I may set up something there as well, and somewhere around Mobile. I'm still working on that. Okay, let's get to some questions from last week. Before I get to any questions, I don't watch any other gardening videos on YouTube. Number one, I'm probably a parrot, like most people. You know, you hear something and then I'll start repeating and I'll sound like that other person. But also, I do enough gardening without watching other people's gardening videos on YouTube. But I happened to catch one the other day, and the person said that you want to plant in the fall 6 weeks before your first frost, and then cut it off. Don't plant anymore in the fall. And that may be true for much colder areas in the country, and probably is true for like zone 5. You probably, where the ground actually freezes in the wintertime, you want to get stuff in and get it established a little bit before that kind of cold takes place, and maybe even parts of zone 6. But zone 7, 8, 9, 10, the southern part of this country, you can plant right through fall. I've gone over this several times. Don't plant things in the fall that have a lot of new growth on them, because they're going to get knocked back. They probably came out of a greenhouse or something like that. But if you're planting shrubs and trees, man, fall is the best time to be putting in, especially trees as they go dormant. So there is no rule in the South. When I had my landscape company, I tried to get as much of the planting done in the fall as I possibly could, because in the fall, and even during frost, October, November, I included as part of fall, you can plant things, the soil's already kind of moist, so we can water them in like once and then kind of walk away from them and not worry about it, especially when I was guaranteeing plants. So there is no 6-week rule in the South, okay, for frost. You can plant right through our first frost and right until it gets cold, so cold that you don't want to work outside. No problem whatsoever. Just don't plant very tender things, things that are marginal in your area, meaning they can be hurt in the first winter in the ground. Those things we want to spring plant. I've gone over this several times. And don't plant anything, like I say, if you're looking at it and it has a lot of new growth on it, it's just flushing out and it's flowering and that kind of thing, that's probably not a good candidate to go in the fall. That I would wait for the spring. But the vast majority, my garden tour yesterday of this yard, I don't think there'd be, maybe the gardenias over there, I might wait until spring. But almost every single thing you saw in that video yesterday, definitely if you're in the South, put it in the ground in the fall if you can find it and it looks good. Okay, now to actual questions. I got, somebody asked me about Nellie Stevens holly having a central leader. Nellie Stevens grows like a Christmas tree. It's a very large growing holly. They're everywhere. They've literally planted everywhere. Unfortunately, sometimes on foundations, and it's way too big of a plant generally for a foundation, but makes a great screening plant. A little slow to get started, but they're so insect and disease resistant and just so tough that they make great border plants, just with a little more patience. But whether or not they have a central leader, because it does look like a Christmas tree, and most conifers would have a central leader, arborvitae and things like that. But No, hollies are going to grow with lots and lots of leaders. It's just going to get wider at the bottom. Even with 8 or 10 leaders up at the top, it still ends up looking like a Christmas tree. So don't worry about that. You can have as many leaders on that holly as you want. Leaders meaning vertical pieces going up into the tree. It'll eventually form that look, regardless of how it looks early on with multiple leaders. Somebody asked me about my opinion of weed control fabric. I did a video on weed control fabric. It's probably one of the most viewed videos on my channel. It's also probably one of the most negative videos on my channel because some people make a lot of money putting down weed control fabric and they don't really like my video. Weed control fabric, I think this is another one of those generalizations that you can make on YouTube. I think out west where it rains less, it might be effective. If you're going to have a rock garden or a rock sidewalk or something like that, it might be good to underlay with weed control fabric. Maybe even a patio or something like that, somewhere where you're trying to prevent weeds coming through stone. But in an actual bed, I don't like it, especially in the southeast where we get a lot of rain. I come back and pull that weed control fabric up later, and the soil smells horrible. I mean, it really it creates very anaerobic conditions in the soil. It ends soil improvement. It was one of the main things I talked about in that video about weed control fabric. When you put mulch on the soil, it breaks down, and if it's touching the soil, if your mulch is touching the soil, it actually starts to improve your soil over time. Creates a layer of compost or humus on the soil surface that improves your overall soil. If you put a plastic barrier between that, between your mulch and the soil, well, that ends soil improvement. And my soil over 20 years of mulching these beds out here has become way better. I was actually surprised coming back around and re-landscaping this yard how much better my soil is now than it was 20 years ago. So and it's also temporary. The other thing about weed control fabric is it's kind of temporary. It prevents weeds for a few seasons, but birds are going to come along and drop weed seeds on top. The wind is going to blow weed seeds on top of it, and eventually you're going to get weeds coming up on top of it regardless. I know people are still going to use it. It's widely marketed, sold everywhere, and people are going to use it. And so go for it if it's for you. There are, like I say, if you want to go back and look at that, I think it's called The Pros and Cons of Weed Control Fabric or something like that. Go back and look at that video and decide for yourself. I put a few pros in there, but mostly overall, I have a negative opinion of weed control fabric. Okay, somebody asked me if they should keep snow off of their gardenia. They were in zone 6. I think you may have a bigger problem. Most gardenias are only hardy in zone 7. So if you're in zone 6 and you have a gardenia, you may want to cover it. You'll probably end up having to cover it. But the snow question brought up an interesting thing about, what somebody asked if snow would damage, leaves if you had snow on them. Snow obviously can cause weight issues where you can actually have plants physically break apart. But snow is an insulator. Keep that in mind. You definitely want to, if you're in an area to get snow and you have marginal plants, don't get rid of the snow. The snow does a great job of insulating the plants, insulating the ground around it. You may want to, typically your coldest winter temperatures happen after snows because you get that, what they call white ball effect, where, when there's no snow on the ground is actually dark colored, and it absorbs the sun's energy, and it gets warmer on those days. When the snow covers everything, you get, like I say, the white ball effect, and the sun's energy is reflected right back out into space, and so it doesn't warm up as much. And so you may want to, so when, like I say, the day after it snows or a couple nights after it snows typically are going to be your coldest winter temperatures. So I would let it snow on my marginal plants and then cover them. The whatever's remaining that's not snowed on those nights, a few nights later. But again, snow is actually an insulator, and it's your friend. Let it snow, then cover. Okay, let me see. Last question on this video. Somebody asked me about a mimosa tree in Central Texas, and mimosas are definitely, and I know when people ask me about mimosas, they're talking about the Southeast Asian mimosa that has the pink frilly flowers and the fern-like foliage and that kind of thing, and the fragrance. Very popular tree. It was brought here from Asia into, I think, Charleston, South Carolina a long time ago, and it is definitely a noxious weed. It's come up everywhere. and it will grow in Central Texas if you're interested in having one. I will warn you that with mimosa trees, the Asian mimosa trees, they're very short-lived, and if you plan on being in that house for any period of time, sometimes they can only live for 10 or 15 years. They grow very quickly. They're very beautiful, but then, and they do have a lot of insect and disease problems associated with them as well. There's probably better options for ornamental trees in Central Texas, maybe even a native option. There is actually a mimosa. Mimosa's in the pea family, Fabriaceae. Red buds are in that family. The plants that produce seed pods that look like peas are in the pea family, and mimosa actually falls into that group, and they're very good at seeding themselves. All of those trees, almost anything in that family, they're great at making seeds, just like peas are great at making seeds, and they can end up everywhere. But there is a native mimosa to that area, but it's a shrub. It's a white flowering shrub. I think it's Mimosa texana or something like that. That may be something to look for if you're interested in that flower type, and you could have something native, but like I say, it is a shrub. It's very different than the tree. But I lean against planting mimosas. It's one of those, it's kind of funny because when I was younger, you know, they're so fascinating. They do have that beautiful fern foliage and beautiful flowers, and they're so tropical looking, and they're so interesting that you do kind of fall in love with them. And then if you actually get to spend any time with them, you realize that they're a pain. They're an actual pain, and they come up everywhere. They'll come up in the cracks. Those seeds are very good at coming up wherever. So I would avoid it, but they will grow in Central Texas, to actually answer your question. So thank you very much for watching this video. Look for the giveaway, the plantsbymel.com giveaway video later in the week. I haven't decided whether I'll combine it with the question and answer video next Sunday, or I'll have it as a separate video. I'll decide that sometime during the week. Thank you very much for watching.